Hello, my name is Vendry. I'm 18. I finished French baccalaureate and I've applied for university. I wanted to interview Sister Maureen because we have a very long connection and link between our family because she went into France when she was 15. When did you decide to become a nun?
Well, seriously, I decided and wanted to do it when I was in my last year at school. And I told my parents this, and my father said, "You must wait until you are 21.
So you was what age?
I was 18,
Okay.
17, 18. But he said, because in those days 21 was majority, he said, "I would not let you get engaged to be married before 21, and you can't do that." So I accepted that reluctantly and went to university. And I did French at university, which included a year in France. And I had a great time, and I'm very, very grateful that I did it that way round. Because I had made friends, I learnt a lot. I had a whole year experience in France, which was good, very good for me. And when I came back, I was 22, and I decided that that was the time to go. I had been educated in Wimbledon in the Ursuline Convent School, grammar school, and so it was natural for me to want to join the Ursulines, who are an international order, but at that time with a lot of schools doing a lot of teaching, and it all kind of fitted in. So when I was 22, I went to begin my training, which lasted 2.5 years before my first vows, which I've just celebrated the Golden Jubilee of. And then I was sent to do a master's degree, which I enjoyed, and then I started teaching, which I did most of my life, really.
And your parents were happy or unhappy?
No, they were not really happy at all, actually. But my father kept his word and said, well, I said that. And they kept, it was very strict visiting and so on in those days. It is not now at all. And you could not go home for a long time. But they accepted all that. And it worked out all right, really. There have been so many changes which have been more easier, much easier for families, though it is hard for families, and for us. And now, I'm very close to my nieces and nephews and so on, and I've kind of seen them grow up, and that's all very good, even if they now live in London.
And with your friends, at this time, they understood your decision? Or?
Well, my friends from school more or less did, because we'd been to Catholic schools and so on, and it was accepted, and it was a time when quite a few people were choosing, in the 50s, were choosing that. At university, they found it a bit harder, some of them. I met a lot of my university friends recently, and they said, "You went to be a nun, didn't you?" And I said, "Yes, I did." "Are you still there?" And I said, "Yes." And they were surprised, and their lives had changed far more than mine had, you know. They'd been married, they'd been divorced, they'd done this, they'd done that. I'd been abroad teaching. I taught for 4 years in Cameroon. But, you know, I had stayed where I started, and that seemed to surprise people.
And what did you do since you started to be a nun? You just pray or?
Well, yes, there's a certain amount of prayer and reading and spirituality, teaching. And
Teaching French?
yes, mostly, yes. And again, I was very fortunate. I was sent to teach students in College of Education, and I loved that.
And where did you go in Cameroon?
I went up to North Cameroon, which is the French-speaking part, and the very Islamic part, but we had a Catholic school there, missionary school, and I was vice principal of the school, and it was good. I'm sure it was the right thing. I'm sure it's the right thing. The form of it at that time, when you look back on it, was pretty daft in some ways. But we've come to recognise that, and a lot of people found it difficult and left when they had the chance. I found it just grateful for all the changes that came and went along with them. Went 4 years to Cameroon, which again was a great experience and stood me in good stead. And then I came to Lancaster, but I was retirement age then. By then. So I don't think I retired, but I started doing a lot of work. Well, I worked in the school as chaplain, and I did all the things that were wanted in the parish and so on. So that was all good, and still is, still going on. I'd like to carry on being involved. I suppose it's a question of perhaps doing a bit less of a hurry, so it doesn't weigh too hard on top of you. But oh no, I would like to keep teaching at adult level and, you know, explaining things to people and preaching the word and so on. Yes, as long as I can.